are not what we were 20 years ago. The election of Kivuiti, we have been improving. So I expect this one to be no exception, to be an improvement on last general election of 2017. And the improvement has always been towards making the election free and fair as much as possible. Yes.
Okay, now comparing from 2020 to 2017, is there any election that you will say that this election was not conducted in a free and fair manner?
Let me tell you this. The late Samuel Kivuiti, God rest his soul, transformed our elections from what they used to be, village elections, to international elections. Kenyan's election, and I've talked to election observers. I had a long discussion with serious observers from across the world in the 2000 general election. And I can assure you, there are few places in the world with an electoral system that can match ours. This is what Kenyans must know. So from around 1997, especially 2002, it has not been a question of managing the election. No. Of course, we have had a few conmen making money through tendering and procurement, and a few things here and there. But generally, our elections are conducted in a manner few in the world can say they are better than us. The problem has never, therefore, been how the elections are managed and conducted. It has always been the transfer of power from one set of Kenyans to another set of Kenyans. It has been at the very end, when people have voted in a clean system and votes have been counted. It has always been the problem of declaring the winner to be the winner and those who have been in power handing over power to the next person. That's where the problem has been. We have never had another problem.
Okay, you're saying the problem has been in handing over powers.
Yes.
And let's look at a scenario of 2013. There were claims that the election was not conducted in a free and fair election and that there was rigging, votes were stolen. Now, IEBC is the same body that is conducting the election, and they were still not answered the question on election rigging that happened. Now, should they be trusted to be conducting this year's election?
If I was the one to choose, I would say we had better have another body. But this is the one we have, and it can do a good job, and we hope it will do a good job. It could be better. But all management systems, you know, elections like exams have outcomes that are not celebrated by everybody. Yeah, there will always be people who contest. But when you talk about a poorly managed election, when you talk of rigging, we are talking about the things that we witnessed in this country in the past, where votes disappear. Ballot boxes are thrown into the forest to be found somewhere washed by rivers. You know, where violence takes place, militias come into the, you know, and the election is kind of messed. Where government comes openly and chases people in areas to not win in broad daylight. Those kind of things are not with us. It doesn't mean that a few of the things that will be done to make it difficult for the transfer of power. Like, for example, in 2013, it was felt that Raila would certainly have won in a runoff. So what the government did or Jubilee was to avoid that runoff. Of course, in terms of figures, it was only 8,000 votes that stood between the presidency and a runoff. It was shown in court by Kathy Kilonzo, from who was an AFRICOG lawyer. AFRICOG is an NGO. That top-up was done to achieve the 8,000. That was not even disputed in court. Nobody countered it in court. Even the evidence that was given, photo evidence. So, save for those small things that will then make it difficult for the transfer of power, our elections are always above board.
Okay. Now, John Mushiri of ICT found himself in trouble after a letter addressed to the IEBC to sanction him after he showed his support for Raila. Do you think someone at his position should he be showing support for a certain candidate?
I have no problem with that.
Even knowing what the position of which he's standing, the work of ICT.
See, The presidency is an infrastructure. And that infrastructure is extended to certain persons during an election, whether we like it or not. That there are few places in the world where the government and the president keeps off completely in a presidential system such as ours. So the presidency is not Uhuru Kenyatta. The president is the president, the deputy president, and the cabinet. That's the presidency. And the infrastructure of government put at their disposal. It's very difficult to convince me the presidency can be neutral. Okay. First of all, the president himself may be seeking re-election. How neutral can he be when he's seeking his own re-election? As in Uhuru in 2017. The same issue came up, Matiang'i, Joe Msheru and the others, Eugene, especially Eugene and Matiang'i, they were cited even in court for supporting Jubilee. We would need to change our constitution to model it around the Westminster form of government for us to avoid situations where the presidency is so powerful, so overbearing, that it is not possible for it not to take part in an election. We need to change. We need to have a parliamentary system if we want. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The work of the ICT, Overseeing and Supervising Communication Authority of Kenya, which provides technological framework of IEBC to conduct digital registration and relying of result election. Yes. Now, someone at his position, maybe, is there a way that he could have come out, maybe support him low-key without maybe... You see, this is a cheap argument. If you say ICT ministry is instrumental in these elections, which is true, but in terms of not the ministry, communications authority, whatever it is called, CCK, what is it? It is called the communication people. Those are the people with service providers like Safaricom and Airtel. Those are the people who will do the actual running of the election. Okay? Of course, nominally they fall under the ministry, the ICT ministry of Joe Msheru. So if you say Joe Msheru should not be partisan, just let me show you how cheap people are. He should not be partisan because the ministry is concerned. But who is Joe Msheru? Joe Msheru is Uhuru Kenyatta. If you fear Joe Msheru can do something, why don't you fear Uhuru Kenyatta? Because this is Uhuru's appointee. He does what Uhuru asks him to do. So in other words, then you are saying the president should never even seek a re-election. Because when Uhuru was campaigning to be president for the second term, he was the president of Kenya. And all these ministers were under him. All these institutions you are saying were under him. So if a minister can push a button to favor Raila Odinga, it means Uhuru will simply push half a button. He won't even need to push anything. Those institutions will be in his favor. It's a cheap argument. Okay. You have to change the system of government to a parliamentary system. Then these issues, even Americans have been telling you people on this show many times, Americans are dealing with this problem of how does the president continue being president with all the powers, with all the institutions, everything at his disposal, including Air Force One and all these big things, with a key, with a secret code, the nuclear, they call them the nukes. And yet he's running against you. You are running against him. Americans have been asking this question. We too must ask. If we feel the interference from government in an election, either because the president is seeking re-election or is supporting someone like Uhuru supporting Raila, we have to change the system of government into a parliamentary system. Then the president will not be there. It will be the prime minister. And the party democracy does not create an individual who is even half as powerful as a president. Okay. Now, from where you're standing, where are these claims coming from one side, coming from Kenya Kwanza side, and why now? Where are the claims coming in right now? But they always come from the side that, first of all, that is not in bed or is not working with the system. But also, it comes from people who are sensing defeat. In an election, if you are running, I know you ran one day. If you run for parliament, I don't know which constituency. I ran for a prefect in high school. High school. Now I want you to run for MCA. Then you can run for MP, which is your constituency. We are this town people who are confused. Mavoko. Yeah. If you want to run in Mavoko and Akikuyu will not run in Mavoko, you have to go to Moranga. If you are running for elections, and the police keep calling you that your opponent has gone to report you all the time, your people are messing his people, they are doing what? and you IBC people, they call you and say, well, we have had, you know you have won. Show me a man complaining during an election, and I'll show you the loser. When you see people complaining in any election, the side that complains a lot is a losing side.
Okay. Now, Musalia Mudavadi the other day was saying that this year's presidential aspirants, a number of 46, I believe 46 of maybe 40 and over candidates who are contesting to be president. Now, he's saying that this is it's a plan by Azimio la Umoja, fielding so many candidates in order to make room for them to steal votes which were maybe meant to go to Ruto. How true are these claims from Musalia Mudavadi?
It is possible, but it's not something you can prove. In 2013, there was a pattern, the one I've talked about from Kathy Kilonzo, which showed, and I remember Kathy Kilonzo using a famous thing, unto those who have, it shall be added. It shall be removed from those who don't have to be added unto those who have, as it is written in the Holy Writs. Because she noticed, and she proved before court, anybody can come and challenge me, we don't need to go to the records of the court, that where Paul Muite was getting 70 votes, they gave him 10 and 60 went to Uhuru. Where Dida was getting 40 votes, they gave Dida 5, they gave Uhuru 35 of them. You know, they kept taking the votes from these small candidates, Peter Kenneth, Mother Karua, and they were adding to Uhuru. And that's how they got the 8,000. So it is possible. That's quite a possibility. But now that they know, they must do something about it. But I, like them, do not support the idea of a forest of candidates. It defeats the whole purpose of democracy. And I'm warning our courts. I'm no longer even advising. I'm just warning them. When IC puts its foot down, last time I said they should put their foot down, they have tried to cite a law that says you must have 2,000 votes from each county, from at least 24 counties, half of the counties. These guys are complaining they can't get 48,000 signatures. They should insist. And when they go to court, and I hear they're already in court, please, Justice Mother Koome, save this country. Amen. Because an election with 50 people on the ballot is not an election. Last time, we were going to have a very good debate in 2013. Uhuru Kenyatta, Musalia Mudavadi, Raila Odinga, Paul Muite and the rest went to court. We had a forest of candidates in a debate. It was no longer a debate. We must stick to what is done in democracies across the world.
What I'm reading from what you're saying is that it's hectic to have plenty of candidates.
How? Even voting. Remember, we vote for 6 positions, from MCA through the MPs, governor, and finally the president. There are 6 slots. That means we spend a lot more time than we used to spend in the booth when you are voting, when we had 3, councillor, MP, and the president. We spend a lot more. Now, if somebody is going to go in the forest to search for a candidate, in an exercise book, unatafuta William Ruto, ujamfikia William. Oh, these elections, they will be carried for 3 days. Okay. You can imagine what will happen if people vote throughout the night. And the following night, not to mention the fatigue. The returning officer is the same, the presiding officer are the same, the facilities they are the same. That will not be an election.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You have said that this year's election might be a book when you're going to vote, maybe
an exercise book.
Exercise book.
Yes, looking for your name.
Might it be a scheme whereby, let's say, William Ruto's comes first and Raila's name comes last, and then maybe by this, maybe the popular name for people who are not yet decided, the popular name for them maybe it's William Ruto, and they take William Ruto because Raila's name is maybe last.
See, they normally use the practice, and you have to tell people why you can't follow that international practice. The tradition has been they go alphabetically. And that's why Museveni, Yoweri Museveni, the surname Museveni, he was going to be Uko Nyuma. He said no, he's Kaguta. So he came first. Baba here, he has changed his name to Baba officially. So he will be first. BA will be on top there. Ruto is Uko Mwisho. You will have to look for the name of Ruto inside the book.
Okay, now as we wind up the conversation now, let me take you back to the question. Do you feel that this election is going to be carried out in a free and fair way?
I think so. then we have no choice. As a country, we have no choice but to have free and fair elections.
Okay.
We need peace in this country. Anybody who does something that can disturb peace in this country, we will deal with him.
Now, what does it mean to the citizen that we have a free and fair election?
The citizen will be happy. They will continue with their business. We don't want interruptions. We don't want even these people come running away from Nairobi. You register in Nairobi to vote, then you fear there's going to be violence, then you go back to Kambani, you go back to where. We don't want that. We want Kenyans to be assured there will be peace, and this election, I can tell you, will just be peaceful.
Okay.